For a large proportion of my life, I have been obsessed with this thing called awakening or Nirvana. And I was very driven in this search to obtain that and achieve that because I believed that it would answer all of my problems. And for years I was meditating over 4 hours a day, going on retreats. If I wasn't reading about it, I was thinking about it. I was very, very obsessed with this thing. Particularly about 15 years ago when I gave up alcohol, that became my primary obsession. But it was an obsession long before this, long before that. And the obsession began actually in my early teenage years. And what it was, as a young teenager, I just felt uncomfortable in my own skin, and I felt uncomfortable with life. I just felt there was something disjointed or something that was preventing me from just enjoying life. And what I was seeking was that. And then I heard about this thing called awakening or Nirvana, and I thought, oh, that's what I need to be okay with life. And so I start chasing after it. Now, because of that chasing over the years and because of what I did start developing this much deeper peace. I did start to be able to accept myself, and that hole in my soul completely disappeared. And yet, despite all of these improvements, there was still this sense of desperate seeking. Like, I wasn't there yet. I'm not there yet. I need to get that awakening thing, and then it'll be okay. And so what started to happen is that thing that initially got me moving actually started to be the problem. Because I realized that actually it was the only thing wrong with my life really was that seeking for something better. And that seeking only started because, that the idea was never actually about, the initial impulse was never about this thing called awakening, which we can, there's lots of different descriptions of what it is and all of that. And what I've found is that the people who do achieve it, it doesn't mean so much to them anymore. That idea is just something to get us going. And that the real thing is the peace that we develop along the way. It's the journey that's the most important thing and what we gain from that journey. But there comes a point, that I found that seeking needs to stop, that you recognize that it's now the problem. And that to recognize that that there is this deep ability to appreciate what's here. Because there's something, from what I can see, almost it seems to me ungrateful in this constant search for something better. This idea that there's something better than what's here, to me it just appears incredibly ungrateful. And the major problem is this rejection of what's here, and it's always been that's the problem. So anything that leads to that, even a quest for some kind of superior way of living, is just part of the problem. And for me, it was waking up to that. It was waking up to the fact that the problem has never been what's here. The problem has always been my relationship to what's here. And that now that I've learned how to have a better relationship with life, that those other things like awakening and Nirvana, they almost seem like childish things now that they serve their purpose and can just become a burden if you continue to use them. Because once I found, and once I kind of recognized this, that once I kind of felt at peace with life and at peace with myself, there just wasn't the motivation anymore to seek something like awakening or Nirvana. I had to realize, I had to kind of recognize that was the case, but it's like there just isn't the motivation. When you're not, when you don't feel broken, you're not in any kind of panic to get anything fixed. And so for me, and you know, it could very well be that that's all it is. I mean, that these things are a way to get us kind of moving in the right direction. But eventually, it's this kind of recognition that the point was never the goal, it was always the journey and what happened to us along that journey. And that, you know, it's a grave mistake to put our life on hold because we're waiting for something much better to happen. I think that's a grave mistake that many of us can make. And the awakening is to wake up so that we don't make that mistake, to wake up to the potential of that mistake. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you again.